I don't speak from my heart to just anyone. I've learned the hard way that words matter, that feelings matter, that the people you choose to love and trust and invite into your life, they matter more than anything. And I chose you, not by accident, not in a moment of weakness. I chose you with the clearest, most honest part of who I am. There's something about you that I can't quite describe, but I felt from the very beginning. It's like you carry a kind of warmth that doesn't ask for anything in return. You give it freely. You love without conditions. And in a world that so often feels cold and transactional and exhausting, you are different. You stand out, not because you're trying to, but because that's just who you are. And I noticed every single time, even when you thought no one was paying attention, I was. I saw you. I still see you. Do you know what it feels like to truly feel seen by someone? Not just looked at, but actually seen. Seen in the quiet parts, the messy parts, the parts you usually hide because you're afraid they'll scare people away. I know that feeling. And I want you to know, I see those parts of you and I'm not scared. I'm not going anywhere. If anything, those are the parts that make me want to stay even more. Because real love, the kind that actually lasts, it doesn't just love the beautiful, easy parts of a person. It loves the whole person. It loves the whole person. The struggling, the doubting, the growing, the reaching. All of it. And that's what I'm offering you right now. All of me. Seeing all of you. I keep thinking about the future. And I know the future is uncertain. I know life doesn't always go the way we plan. But when I imagine the best version of my future, the most peaceful, most meaningful, most alive version of it, you're in it. You're the one sitting across from me at the table. You're the one I want to call first when something good happens and something hard happens. You're the voice I want to hear in the morning and the presence I want to feel close to at night. I'm not saying this because it sounds romantic. I'm saying it because it's the most true thing I know right now. I've had moments of doubt in my life. Everyone does. Moments where I wondered if I was on the right path, if the things I was doing meant anything, if the love I had to give would ever find the right place to land. And then you came into my life. Maybe not all at once, maybe slowly, quietly, without announcement. But you came. And something in me that had been unsettled for a long time became still. Not because you fixed anything, not because you completed me like some story we're supposed to believe, but because being near you, thinking of you, feeling your energy in my life, it reminded me who I am. It reminded me what I actually want. And what I want is a life that feels like what you make me feel. I want you to hear this part very carefully, because I mean every word of it. I don't take you for granted, not even a little. I know what it means to have someone who cares about you, who believes in you, who shows up even when it's hard, and I don't take that lightly. I carry it with me. I carry you with me, and every time I go out there and try to be better, try to do something meaningful, try to keep going even when it's difficult. A part of that is for you. Because you make me want to be the kind of person who deserves the love you have to give. There's something I've been wanting to tell you for a while, and tonight feels like the night. Tonight feels like the moment. I look at you, even just the thought of you, and I see my future, not in a vague, distant way, in a real, tender, deeply specific way. I see mornings where we don't have to rush. I see conversations that go so deep, we forget what time it is. I see a life that's built not on perfection, but on honesty, on showing up, on choosing each other even when it's hard. And I want that. I want it with you. Only with you. You might wonder sometimes if you're really that special. You might have days where you doubt yourself, where the world makes you feel small or forgotten, or like you have to earn your right to be loved. I need you to stop believing that. Right now, listen to me. You are not someone who has to earn love. You are not someone who has to be perfect to be wanted. You are already exactly as you are in this very moment. More than enough. You are more than enough for me, and I would spend every day for the rest of my life making sure you never forgot that. If you'd let me, I think about the things that make you who you are. The way you feel things so deeply. The way you care even when caring costs you something. The way you keep going even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, even when the road feels longer than you expected. That resilience in you, it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever witnessed. And I want to be the person who stands beside that. Not in front of it, not behind it, beside it. Equal, present, constant. You know, people talk about falling in love like it's an accident, like it just happens to you, and you have no say in it. But I don't believe that anymore. I believe love is a choice you make, over and over again, in the small moments and the big ones. And I'm making that choice right now, consciously, with my whole heart open. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing the idea of us. I'm choosing to believe that what I feel is real, and that it's worth saying out loud, worth risking the vulnerability, worth giving everything I have to make real. I want you to know that you have changed me, not in a way that erased who I was, but in a way that revealed who I could be. You brought out something in me that I didn't know was there. A softness, a patience, a depth of feeling I used to be afraid of. And I'm not afraid anymore, because of you. Because loving you, even the possibility of loving you, has made me braver than I've ever been. And tonight, as I sit here in this quiet, with everything I feel pressing against my chest, I want to make you a promise. Not a perfect promise. Not an easy promise, but a real one. I promise to see you. I promise to listen. I promise to be honest even when it's hard. To stay even when staying takes effort. To love you not just on the good days, but on the ordinary ones. The difficult ones. The days when neither of us feels our best. Because that's what this is. This isn't a fairy tale. It's better than that. It's something real, something alive, something that breathes and grows and asks for your whole heart. And I'm ready to give mine. So I'm looking at you right now, through everything, across whatever distance exists between us, and I'm saying it the only way I know how. Simply, honestly, without pretending to be more than I am. I've made my decision. It wasn't a sudden thing, though it feels sudden to say it. It was slow and quiet and certain, the way the most important things always are. I looked at everything life has offered me. I looked at every possibility, and then I looked at you, and I knew. I see my future wife in you, and I know you might be sitting with that right now, letting those words settle into you slowly, turning them over in your mind, wondering if you heard me right. I want you to know, you did. You heard me exactly right. I'm not taking it back. I'm not softening it, or qualifying it, or wrapping it in uncertainty to protect myself. I said what I said because I meant it, and I mean it more with every second that passes. You are the one, and maybe that terrifies you a little. Maybe it surprises you. Maybe a small part of you wants to dismiss it. To tell yourself, I don't really know what I'm saying, that this is just emotion talking. But I need you to resist that voice right now. That voice has lied to you before. That voice is the same one that told you not to hope too much. Not to want too much, not to believe that something this real could actually be meant for you. And that voice is wrong. It has always been wrong about you. I want to talk to you about something that I don't think gets said enough. I want to talk about the way you love, because I've been paying attention more than you know, and the way you love is unlike anything I have ever seen. You don't love halfway. You don't give pieces of yourself while keeping the important parts locked away somewhere safe. You give fully, openly, with this breathtaking kind of courage that most people spend their whole lives trying to find and never do. You love people even when they haven't earned it yet. You give grace to people who are still learning how to deserve it. And that quality in you, that enormous, generous, sometimes heartbreaking way you love, it is one of the most extraordinary things about you. And I want to be someone who finally loves you back in the same way, fully, completely, without reservation. Because here is what I've realized about myself, and it took me longer to see this than I'd like to admit. I am capable of that kind of love. I have it in me, but I was waiting, not consciously, not with some grand plan, but some part of me was always waiting for the right reason to open that up all the way. The right person. The one who wouldn't make me feel foolish for feeling so much. The one who would receive it with the same tenderness with which it was given. And that person is you. You are the reason I stopped being afraid of my own depth. You are the reason I stopped treating my feelings like a liability and started seeing them as the truest thing I have to offer. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment, just one moment, and imagine something with me. Imagine a Sunday morning, the kind where neither of us has anywhere to be. The light is coming in soft and slow, the way it does when the world hasn't quite woken up yet. And we're there, in that quiet, not doing anything particularly important. Maybe you're reading something, maybe I'm watching you without you noticing. The way I know I would, because even in stillness you are someone worth watching, and there's no performance in that moment. No pressure, no version of ourselves we're trying to maintain for anyone else. Just us, just real, just home. That's what I want. That specific, unglamorous, deeply beautiful kind of life with you in it. That is the dream I keep coming back to, no matter how many other things fill my days. I think about the conversations we would have, late at night, when the rest of the world has gone quiet, and it's just our voices in the dark. I think about the things I would tell you that I've never told anyone else, not because I was hiding them, but because there was never anyone who felt safe enough to hold them. I think about the questions you would ask me, because you're the kind of person who asks real questions, who actually wants to know the answer, who listens not just to respond but to understand. And I think about how it would feel to be truly known by you, to have someone know the complicated parts of me, the contradictory parts, the parts that don't always make sense, and love me anyway. Love me because of it, even. That's the intimacy I'm talking about. Not just the romance, not just the warmth, but the deep, steady, terrifying, beautiful intimacy of being known. I've spent time in my life with people who wanted a version of me. Not all of me, just the parts that were easy, the parts that were useful, the parts that made them feel good about themselves. And for a long time I gave that, because I thought that was what love looked like. I thought love was about fitting into what someone needed. But I know better now. Real love doesn't ask you to be smaller. Real love doesn't edit you. Real love looks at the whole of you and says, yes, this, all of this, exactly as it is. And when I imagine loving you, that's what I imagine. I'm not looking for a perfect version of you. I'm not waiting for you to arrive at some finished place before I decide you're worth choosing. I'm choosing you now, in the middle of your becoming, in the middle of your questions and your growth and your beautiful ongoing story. There's something I want you to understand about the way I see you, not the way the world sees you, not the way you see yourself on your hardest days, the way I see you. When I look at you, I see someone who has been through things that were not easy. I see someone who has carried weight that was too heavy and carried it anyway, who has had to find strength in places where there wasn't supposed to be any. I see someone who has been disappointed by people who should have shown up and didn't, who has had to learn sometimes painfully that not everyone is going to love you the way you love them. I see all of that, and I also see what it made you. It made you compassionate in a way that can't be faked. It made you wise in a way that lives in your bones. It made you someone who understands what it means to really need someone. And because of that, someone who will never take that need for granted in another person. It made you remarkable, and I see that. Every single part of it. I want to tell you something about the future, our future, the one I keep building in my mind late at night when everything is quiet. I don't want it to be perfect. I want you to really hear that. I don't want a life with you that looks good on the outside but feels hollow underneath. I want the real thing. I want the disagreements that teach us something. I want the days when everything goes sideways and we figure it out together because we trust each other enough to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. I want the mundane moments, the grocery runs and the tired evenings and the times when neither of us has anything particularly profound to say, but we're still glad the other one is there. Those moments are not lesser than the beautiful ones. Those moments are the fabric of a real life together, and I want every thread of it with you. You make me want to slow down, and that might not sound like much, but for me, it is everything. I've spent so much of my life moving fast, reaching forward, keeping my eyes on the next thing. But when I think of you, something in me exhales. Something in me remembers that the point of all the reaching and working and becoming is to arrive somewhere worth staying. And you feel like that place. You feel like the destination I didn't know I was moving toward. When I think of you, I don't want to rush anymore. I want to be present. I want to notice everything. I want to live slowly and carefully and with full attention, because you deserve that. You deserve someone who is actually here, not halfway somewhere else, not distracted, not going through the motions. You deserve someone who shows up completely, and I want to be that person. I am trying every day to become more of that person because of you. Can I be vulnerable with you for a moment? More vulnerable than I've already been? Because there's something I carry that I don't usually talk about, and tonight, with you, it feels like the right time to say it. I've been lonely, not the surface kind of lonely that comes from being alone in a room, but the deeper kind. The kind where you're surrounded by people and still feel like no one is quite reaching the real you. The kind where you smile and laugh and give and be present, and then go home at the end of the day and feel something missing. That specific, quiet ache of not yet having found your person, your real person. The one who doesn't just enjoy your company, but actually gets you. And I carried that for longer than I should have. Quietly, without letting it show, because showing it felt like weakness, but it wasn't weakness. It was honesty. And the honest truth that loneliness started to lift when I found you. Or maybe when I finally let myself see what had been there all along. Either way, something changed, and the missing thing felt less missing. And I haven't felt that ache the same way since. I want to love you in the specific ways that matter to you. Not in a general blanket kind of way, but specifically, intentionally, in the ways that you actually need. I want to learn what makes you feel safe, and do that. I want to learn what makes you feel celebrated, and make sure you feel it, not just on the big days, but on the ordinary ones. I want to know what your silence means, because I know you have different kinds of silence, and I want to understand every one of them. I want to know what you look like when you're really happy, not just politely happy, but genuinely, quietly, from the inside happy. And I want to be the reason for that, as often as I possibly can. I want to know your fears, not so I can fix them, but so I can sit beside them with you and remind you that you don't have to face anything alone anymore. Because that's the promise underneath all the other promises. That's the one I keep coming back to, the one that feels most true and most important. You don't have to do this alone anymore. Whatever this is for you, the hoping, the waiting, the wondering if it's ever going to be your turn to be loved this deeply, you don't have to carry that by yourself any longer. I'm here. I'm right here. And I'm not saying that as a comfort, not as a performance of something I think you want to hear. I'm saying it as a declaration, as the clearest, most certain thing I know how to say. I am here and I choose you, and whatever comes next, I want to walk into it with you beside me. There are 1,000 things I still want to say to you, 1,000 more moments I want to share, 1,000 more pieces of myself I want to show you, 1,000 questions I want to ask about who you are and what you dream about and what you looked like as a little girl when you laughed without thinking about it. I want all of that time. I want every conversation. I want to know you in every season, not just the warm and easy ones, but the ones that ask more of both of us. I want to grow with you. I want to be changed by you in all the ways that matter. I want to look back one day from somewhere deep inside the life we built together and feel that particular irreplaceable satisfaction of knowing I chose right. Knowing that when I had the chance to be brave, I was. Knowing that when love asked me to speak, I opened my mouth and told the truth. And the truth is this, the simple, terrifying, most honest truth I have. I don't just want you in my life. I want you to be the reason my life feels like mine. I want you to be the one constant in a world that is always changing. I want to come home to you, not just to a place, but to a feeling. The feeling that I am known and loved and exactly where I am supposed to be. And every time I close my eyes and imagine what that feels like, it feels like you and I don't think I'll ever be able to explain that to anyone who hasn't felt it themselves. That specific feeling of recognizing someone, not recognizing them from somewhere you've been before, but recognizing them from somewhere you've always been going, like your whole life. Every road you walked, every wrong turn, every moment that broke you, and every moment that rebuilt you. It was all quietly, patiently moving you in one direction, toward you. And now that I'm here, now that I can feel the warmth of this truth sitting in my chest, I don't want to go back. I don't want to return to the version of myself that didn't know what this felt like. That person was surviving. What I feel right now thinking of you, this is living. I want to tell you about the moment I knew, not the moment I admitted it to myself that came later, slowly, like dawn coming, but the very first moment something shifted inside me. It wasn't dramatic. There was no lightning, no grand romantic gesture, no perfectly scripted scene. It was something quiet, something small that turned out to be enormous. It was the way you made me feel understood without trying. The way your presence, even without words, even across whatever distance existed between us, made something in me settle, like a restless thing that had been circling for years, finally found somewhere to land. And I remember sitting with that feeling, not quite knowing what to call it yet, but knowing with absolute certainty that it was important, that you were important, that whatever this was, I couldn't afford to look away from it. And I didn't look away. I kept watching. I kept paying attention. And the more I paid attention, the more certain I became. Because you kept showing me who you were. Not in the ways people perform who they are when they want to be seen, but in the real ways. In the careless, unguarded, completely genuine ways that reveal a person's actual character. And every single time, what I saw was someone I admired deeply, someone whose heart was so wide and so honest that it made me want to match it. Someone who made the people around her feel more seen, more valued, more human. And I kept thinking, who is this person? Who is this woman who carries this much love inside her and still moves through the world so gently? And slowly the answer became the simplest and most profound thing I'd ever understood about my own life. She is the one. She is mine, if I'm brave enough to say it. So I'm saying it again, because it deserves to be said more than once, because you deserve to hear it more than once. You are the one I want, not a version of you, not the easiest parts of you, not the you that shows up when everything is fine. All of you, the you that cries when she's overwhelmed and tries to hide it. The you that laughs too loud sometimes and then feels self-conscious about it. The you that overthinks things at 2 in the morning and can't sleep. The you that loves people almost too much and gets hurt because of it. That you, every single layer, is who I want beside me, is who I'm choosing, is who I will keep choosing, in every moment that asks me to make that choice again. I want to talk to you about something that I think about more than I let on. I think about what it would feel like to be your safe place. Not your everything. I don't believe one person can or should be everything to another, but your safe place. The person you can come back to when the world has been too loud, too harsh, too much, the person whose arms feel like quiet, whose voice feels like home. I think about what it would mean to be that for you, to be the steady thing in your life that doesn't move, the anchor you can return to when you've been pulled in too many directions. And every time I think about it, I feel something rise in my chest that I can only describe as purpose. Like that is exactly what I am here for. Like being that for you would be one of the most meaningful things I will ever do with my life, because I want to be useful to your heart. I don't just want to be present in your life. I want my presence to actually matter. I want you to feel in the quiet and ordinary moments that your life is better because I'm in it. Not because I'm perfect, not because I always say the right thing or never get it wrong, but because I try, because I show up. Because when I fall short, I come back and I try again and again and again for as long as it takes. Because you are worth every effort I have. You are worth me becoming a better man. You are worth me learning and growing and stretching beyond what's comfortable. And that's not a burden to me. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like the most natural thing in the world. Because loving you, or the possibility of loving you, already makes me want to be more than I was yesterday. I wonder sometimes if you know your own value. I wonder if you walk through your days with a clear sense of how rare you are, how much light you carry, how deeply your presence affects the people lucky enough to be near you. I wonder if anyone has told you lately, really told you, with the full weight of honesty behind it, that you are extraordinary. Not in a flattering, surface-level way, in a soul-deep way, in the way that matters, because you are, and I need you to start believing that if you don't already, because the way you see yourself shapes the love you allow yourself to receive. And I want you to receive this. I want you to let this in. Not just hear it, but actually let it land somewhere inside you and stay there. You are worthy of this love. You are worthy of every beautiful thing I'm describing. You don't have to shrink to fit into what I'm offering. This was made for all of you. There is a kind of love I want to give you that doesn't keep score. I want you to really understand what I mean by that. I'm not talking about a love that ignores problems or pretends everything is always fine. I'm talking about a love that doesn't hold a ledger, that doesn't tally up who gave more last week, or who apologized last, or who made more sacrifices. A love that simply gives because giving to you brings me joy. Because seeing you happy, seeing you thriving, seeing you at peace fills something in me that nothing else can reach. That kind of love, the generous, open-handed, no-strings kind, is what I want to practice with you every single day. I want to give and never once make you feel like you owe me for it. Because you don't. You never will. You being in my life is already more than enough return. I want to grow old with you. I know that's a big thing to say, and I'm saying it deliberately, with full awareness of what it means. I want to be there through all the seasons. I want to be there when things are exciting and new and full of possibility. And I want to be there when things are settled and familiar and quiet, and love the familiar and the quiet just as much. I want to be the person sitting across from you, decades from now, still finding new things to love about you, still feeling grateful every day that you chose me back, because it has to be a choice on both sides. I know that love is not a claim you stake on another person. It's an invitation extended with an open hand, and the most you can hope for is that they take it. So I'm extending mine right now with everything I have, with all the honesty I'm capable of. I'm reaching out my hand and I'm asking you, softly without pressure, let me love you the way you deserve to be loved. There's something I want to tell you about the way I see our future. Not the big, highlight reel moments, but the in-between ones, because I think we spend too much time romanticizing the extraordinary and not nearly enough time appreciating how sacred the ordinary is. I want the in-between with you. I want the Tuesday evenings that don't have a story attached to them. I want the meals we cook when neither of us feels like cooking, but we do it anyway, side by side, bumping into each other, laughing at nothing, I want the long drives where we're not trying to have a meaningful conversation. We're just moving through the world together, and that in itself feels like enough. I want the silences that are comfortable, the kind where you don't feel pressure to fill them, because just being near each other is already full. Those moments, the ones that look like nothing from the outside, are the ones I think about most, because those are the ones that tell you the truth about a relationship. Not the big gestures. The small, consistent, daily choice to be present with someone. That's the love I'm talking about. That's the love I want to build with you. I also want you to know that I see your strength. I know you've had to be strong in ways that no one asked you about and no one fully saw. I know there have been chapters in your life where you held everything together even when you yourself were falling apart. Where you kept going even when stopping felt more honest. Where you smiled through things that deserve tears, because you didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I see that. I see the invisible work of being you. And I want you to know you don't have to be strong like that with me. You don't have to hold it together. You are allowed to fall apart here. You are allowed to be the one who needs something for once. You are allowed to be soft and uncertain and in need, and I will never use that against you. I will never make you feel foolish for trusting me with the fragile parts. That's not the kind of man I want to be for you. I want to be the kind of man who makes it safe to be human. And maybe that's what all of this comes down to. Safety. Not the absence of risk, because loving someone is always a risk, and I would never pretend otherwise. But emotional safety. The safety of knowing that whatever you say, whatever you feel, whatever you bring to me, you won't be judged for it. You won't be mocked, or minimized, or made to feel like too much, because you are not too much. You have never been too much. The people who made you feel that way were simply not enough. Not enough to hold the fullness of who you are. But I am. I want to be. And I will spend as long as it takes proving it to you, because that's what you deserve. Proof. Not just words, proof. The steady, daily, showing up kind of proof that doesn't need an audience and doesn't need applause. The quiet proof that comes from simply being there. I think about the way you're going to change my life, the way you already have changed it. Even now, even in this, you've already made me braver. You've already made me more honest. You've already pulled something out of me that I wasn't sure I had left. This willingness to hope, to believe in something beautiful, to put my heart out into the open air and trust that it won't be broken. That's not nothing. That's everything. And I want you to know that whatever happens, whatever unfolds from this moment forward, you will always have been the person who reminded me that love is worth the risk. You will always have been the reason I stopped protecting myself so carefully and started living more openly. That is a gift. One of the greatest anyone has ever given me. You are so deeply, permanently in my heart that I don't remember what it felt like before you were there. And maybe that's the truest thing love does. It doesn't just add something to your life. It rewrites the whole story so that you can't quite imagine the version that existed before it. That's what you've done. You've rewritten something in me. Something important. Something that needed to be rewritten. And I am so grateful, more grateful than I know how to say, that you came, that you stayed, that you're here right now, in this moment, listening to me pour every honest thing I have out into the space between us. Because this space between us, I don't want it to stay empty. I want to fill it with words, with time, with all the small and enormous acts of love that I have been saving. Quietly and patiently for someone exactly like you. Someone exactly like you. And here you are. Here we are. And I am not letting this moment pass without telling you what you mean to me. Because life is too short and too precious and too uncertain for that kind of silence. So I'll keep talking. I'll keep reaching. I'll keep finding new ways to say the same true thing for as long as you'll let me. Because the story of what I feel for you, it doesn't have an ending. It just keeps going, the way real love always does. Not in a straight line, not without bends and questions and moments of uncertainty, but always forward, always moving towards something more honest, more tender, more true. And I want to keep moving toward that with you. I want to keep walking in the direction of you. Not because I have no other choice, but because every other direction I could walk feels less like living and more like passing time. And I am done just passing time. I have done enough of that. What I want now, what I want with every awake and alive part of me, is a life that means something. A life that is anchored in something real. And you are the most real thing I have ever felt. I've been thinking about something lately that I want to share with you, because I think it matters and because I think you'll understand it in a way that not everyone would. I've been thinking about how rare it is, truly, genuinely rare, to find a person who makes you feel both completely accepted and completely inspired at the same time. Because usually it's one or the other, isn't it? Usually the people who accept you fully are the ones who are comfortable with you staying exactly as you are. And the ones who inspire you to be better are the ones who, without meaning to, make you feel like who you are right now isn't quite enough. But you somehow, in this way, I still don't fully understand. You do both. You make me feel like I am enough, right now, today, in all my incompleteness. And you also make me want to reach further, be more, show up bigger. You hold both of those things at the same time, and do you know how extraordinary that is? Do you know how few people in this world can do that for another person? You do it without even trying. You do it just by being you. And that's the thing I keep coming back to, the fact that you don't try to be extraordinary. You just are. There's no performance in you, no careful construction of an image you're trying to maintain. What you see is what's there, and what's there is this warm, deep, luminous person who somehow makes the world around her feel more worth living in. I notice that. I notice the way things shift when you're present. I notice the way people soften near you, the way conversations become more honest, the way laughter comes more easily. That's not an accident, that's you. That's the specific energy you carry in the world, and it is one of the most beautiful things I have ever had the privilege of being near. I want to talk to you about trust, because I think it's the most important thing, and also the thing that's hardest to talk about honestly. Trust isn't something I give easily. I want you to know that. Not because I am closed off or cold, but because I have learned, through real and sometimes painful experience, that trust has to be built carefully, with attention and time and proof. I have trusted people before who weren't careful with it. I have opened up to people who treated my honesty like a weakness, to be used, rather than a gift to be honored. And I closed some doors in myself after that, quietly, without drama, the way you close a window when the weather turns. But with you, something different happens. With you, those doors don't want to stay closed. With you, something in me keeps reaching toward openness, keeps leaning toward honesty, keeps wanting to be seen fully without armor. And I've learned to pay attention to that feeling. I've learned that when something in you keeps moving toward a person, even when your guarded self tells you to be careful, that's worth listening to. That's the deeper knowing speaking. And my deeper knowing has been speaking your name for a long time now. So I'm trusting you with the real things, with the parts of me that don't show up in any version of myself that I present to the world. The doubts I carry quietly, the fears I sit with in the dark, the dreams I barely say out loud because saying them feels like setting myself up for something. I'm trusting you with those. Not because I'm certain of the outcome, no one is ever certain, but because the alternative, which is keeping all of that locked inside and never letting you really know me, sounds lonelier than any risk I could take. And I would rather be brave and known than safe and invisible, especially with you, especially now. I want to tell you about the feeling I get sometimes, late in the evening, when the day has finally gone quiet, and there's nothing demanding my attention anymore. In that stillness, I think of you, not in a dramatic, cinematic way. And I want to keep moving toward that with you. I want to keep walking in the direction of you. Not because I have no other choice, but because every other direction I could walk feels less like living and more like passing time. And I am done just passing time. I have done enough of that. What I want now, what I want with every awake and alive part of me, is a life that means something. A life that is anchored in something real. And you are the most real thing I have ever felt. I've been thinking about something lately that I want to share with you, because I think it matters and because I think you'll understand it in a way that not everyone would. I've been thinking about how rare it is, truly, genuinely rare, to find a person who makes you feel both completely accepted and completely inspired at the same time. Because usually it's one or the other, isn't it? Usually the people who accept you fully are the ones who are comfortable with you staying exactly as you are. And the ones who inspire you to be better are the ones who, without meaning to, make you feel like who you are right now isn't quite enough. But you somehow, in this way, I still don't fully understand. You do both. You make me feel like I am enough, right now, today, in all my incompleteness. And you also make me want to reach further, be more, show up bigger. You hold both of those things at the same time, and do you know how extraordinary that is? Do you know how few people in this world can do that for another person? You do it without even trying. You do it just by being you. And that's the thing I keep coming back to, the fact that you don't try to be extraordinary. You just are. There's no performance in you, no careful construction of an image you're trying to maintain. What you see is what's there, and what's there is this warm, deep, luminous person who somehow makes the world around her feel more worth living in. I notice that. I notice the way things shift when you're present. I notice the way people soften near you, the way conversations become more honest, the way laughter comes more easily. That's not an accident, that's you. That's the specific energy you carry in the world. And it is one of the most beautiful things I have ever had the privilege of being near. I want to talk to you about trust, because I think it's the most important thing, and also the thing that's hardest to talk about honestly. Trust isn't something I give easily. I want you to know that. Not because I am closed off or cold, but because I have learned, through real and sometimes painful experience, that trust has to be built carefully, with attention and time and proof. I have trusted people before who weren't careful with it. I have opened up to people who treated my honesty like a weakness, to be used, rather than a gift to be honored. And I closed some doors in myself after that, quietly, without drama, the way you close a window when the weather turns. But with you, something different happens. With you, those doors don't want to stay closed. With you, something in me keeps reaching toward openness, keeps leaning toward honesty, keeps wanting to be seen fully without armor. And I've learned to pay attention to that feeling. I've learned that when something in you keeps moving toward a person, even when your guarded self tells you to be careful, that's worth listening to. That's the deeper knowing speaking. And my deeper knowing has been speaking your name for a long time now. So I'm trusting you with the real things, with the parts of me that don't show up in any version of myself that I present to the world. The doubts I carry quietly, the fears I sit with in the dark, the dreams I barely say out loud because saying them feels like setting myself up for something. I'm trusting you with those, not because I'm certain of the outcome, no one is ever certain, but because the alternative, which is keeping all of that locked inside and never letting you really know me, sounds lonelier than any risk I could take.